Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today we are doing two looks and talking about the Flower Moon palette from Ensly Reign Cosmetics. This palette retails for $69. It's currently on pre-order and mine came in really quickly. I think it says 2 to 4, 4 to 6 weeks online, but I waited maybe 1 for mine, so I would say you'd get it pretty quickly. Here's what it looks like on the inside, the color story. I like the artwork on the outside. I really liked the color story on the inside. It's kind of fall, but it's like, it's a good transitional palette, right? It's got some like lighter colors, but it's also got some of those fall tones. I really wanted to get it to compare it to this one. This is the only palette I previously had from Ensly Reign Cosmetics, the Midwinter Dream, and I know I absolutely love this palette, so I really wanted to see like what's the consistency and the formula, you know, are they all the same? This one was $88. This one is the same size, same amount of pans, but is lesser, I believe, because it has less multi-chromes in it than the Midwinter Dreams did, but it also could be because the Midwinter Dream was a collaboration palette. That one was with Brittany Huffman, so they may have had to make it more for payment of the collaborator. I'm not sure. This one is not a collaborator. And I do want to mention before we get into the video, this wasn't the case on the first palette, but on this one, it's the only palette I've seen. They had this little like silver, hopefully you can see on the palette here where it came off, it had like a seal for me to know that the palette was actually new, like unused, sealed shut. So I thought that was interesting, notable, something different. But yeah guys, we're gonna go ahead and get into the two looks and I'll let you know if the formula seems the same or if it's worth it at the end of the video. Before we get too far into the video, if you haven't already, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It's totally free to subscribe and I would love to have you back again on the channel. All right, let's go ahead and get into look number 1. So I'm not sure if my camera was recording or not, but I started this look and I went in with Renew, the matte. It is the deepest shade in the palette, so that's the only matte I used. Of course you could pull from something else, but just for me right away, this being the deepest, I would have liked at least one thing deeper or darker to be able to do a bit more blending with, and like these two shades look pretty similar. They're far apart from each other, but I think on the eye they're gonna look pretty similar, so I think one of those could have been a deeper shade maybe. And then I've done April Showers on a flat brush, and that's where we are so far. I'm sorry that I didn't capture that. I don't know what was going on. And then in the front part, I am gonna go with Persephone, this one right here. And I'm just using the same flat brush because I am gonna try to like meld and meet them in the middle. This is, oh, I wasn't expecting that color. This is a lot more pinky than it looked in the pan, but that's okay. It's gonna go well with the purple. These are kind of like the putty squishy formula of shimmer, which I absolutely adore, but I know not everybody likes that, so I just figured I would tell you that's kind of the texture of this particular formula and of the other Ensly Reign palette that I have. Ooh, so pretty. It's so nice. I'm sure the lights are like washing it out so you can't see the flip very well. And then, oh, you know what? You know why it looked different? Because I said I was using Persephone and then I accidentally dipped into Flower Moon next to it. Can we tell it's like 7 a.m. in the morning? I'm making mistakes. So I used April Showers and Flower Moon. Persephone will have to be for another day, you guys. And that was like, Flower Moon is what I wanted to use in the inner corner because that's, I think, the lightest thing. I think some of these are gonna be too deep for an inner corner. Sapling, you might be able to get away with it, but that's more of like a green pink, so I didn't really want to do that. So I guess I'll just take my rougher 3 brush and put additional Flower Moon in the inner corner. I'm gonna add liner, lashes, all of that stuff, and I will be back when I am finished with this first look. So here is the finished look number 1. I know I just used 3 shades, but Number one, the last video I did with the Seahorse palette, I was using like up to 5 shades a look, and I know not all of you want to do that, right? 3 shades for some of you, you're like, that's plenty. That might even be too much. So I wanted to show you some simpler looks, especially because one of these, the Flower Moon shade, it is more of a multi-chrome. The Violet Deep Purple is an ultra reflective shimmer, but it doesn't look like it's a duochrome or anything. But the shade I used on the inner portion, I'm seeing some green, I'm seeing some blue, I'm seeing some pink, some purple. It's really, really shifty. And sometimes all you need is 1 or 2 shades when you're working with multi-chromes. Also, I'm filming these in the morning before work, so time, you know, like real life stuff here, people. So that is look number 1. What do we think? I'm in love. It's the same great formula as the Midwinter Dream that I've experienced. The last thing I want to do here for look 1, because I have no blush on intentionally, is I'm going to use Peony with a rougher 4 because I want to see how this does as blush. Because I love a multi-purpose moment when I can do what I'm doing right now and be like, I have to go out the door very quickly. Can I just grab the same eyeshadow palette that I used that day and use that as a blush or a highlighter or a bronzer or something, some other stuff to save me some time? I mean, I feel like that blended out pretty easily. Sometimes with eyeshadows, you do have to work a little bit more to blend it because it's formulated to be an eyeshadow and not a blush. But that was pretty easy to blend out. It didn't stick weirdly to any one spot. So again, that was Peony, but I feel like you could also use Rejuvenate for an orange blush maybe, and even Mayflowers is a little pinkier. So maybe we'll explore that more in look 2. I don't know what I'm wearing tomorrow, so I haven't really planned it that far out yet, but for you, it'll be moments. Here's look 2. Okay, for look 2, we are gonna go more into the greens, and there are plenty of them to choose from. So I'm going with my Ace Beauté P1 brush, and I am going to, I think once again, start with Renew in the outer corner, just because, like I said, in look 1, this is the deepest shade, and I do like to have a little something in the outer corner to deepen my looks and give it somewhat of a little dimension. I know this is gonna be a short video because these mattes are so easy to blend that I'm not having to just like sit here and talk to you guys while I'm doing it. It's pretty much just like apply, swirl a little on the edges to make sure that everything looks smooth, and you're done. Like, I'm not having to finesse or do a whole lot of extra blending or anything, which is nice. Okay, next I'm gonna go in with Meadow, which is the deeper of the 3 green mattes, and this is a Morphe JS6. I'm just gonna place that up against the first matte I laid down. It's looking nice and smoky. Now I'm going to a flat brush. This one's from Cleona. I'm gonna start with Forsythia, which is this green right here. Again, I'm not using any kind of glitter primer, but I did use eyeshadow primer before I started putting down the mattes. I do eyeshadow primer with literally every single eyeshadow I ever use. It's just what I prefer and works best for me so that I get the pigmentation I want, they don't crease. Then on the inner portion, I'm really curious about Sapling, which looks to be a green to a pink. I'm wondering if it's just gonna look like straight up pink when I put it on my eyes, because sometimes that happens where it looks one way in the pan and you get more of the flip when you put it on. Oh, okay, so actually it's looking a little more blue on the eye. I can see the pink and the green really easily in the pan, but we've got a little blue too with this multi-chrome. That's pretty though into the green. I don't know how much you guys can see any of the flips of the duo and multi-chromes on camera. Someday they will make cameras good enough to be able to pick up all of those details. And then I think I'm gonna kind of echo what I did in look 1 and take my Rephr 3 brush and take more of that same shade Sapling. It's got a pretty translucent base, I'm gonna put a little of that same shade in the inner corner. So we used only 4 shades to get this look, and I'm liking how like grassy and brown and smoky it's looking. So I'm gonna go ahead and add liner, my mascara, all of that, and I'll show it to you when it's finished. Okay, here is with liner and some mascara. And then of course, just like look 1, I want to test another one of these as a blush just because there are multiple shades I feel like work for it, right? Oh, you guys, I can't film in the morning. I forgot to turn my bat on. Like this video is a mess. I usually don't film in the morning. Don't judge me. I'm trying to get content up for you guys. I did Peony yesterday's blush. I'm gonna do Mayflowers next to it. It's a little pinkier instead of like mauve or mauve, however you say it. Oh, actually, I was worried that was going to be too pinky for my personal taste personally, but I actually really like how that shade looks as a blush. Yeah, it's nicely pigmented, but it's not like it's not too little and it's not too much. Like you can build it as a blush. Some eyeshadow palettes, when I try to use them as blushes, it's like, oh my gosh, so much pigment and I can't blend it out. But this looks really nice, guys. So yeah, I would say if you are interested in the Flower Moon palette, this is just as nice as the Midwinter Dreams. Yeah, equally good quality. I would say go for it if you want it. This one is more affordable. You're right, that's like the difference between multi-chromes versus duochromes and how many mattes and things like that. So this one is slightly more affordable than that Midwinter Dream collab with Brittany Huffman was, if you missed that one. So yeah, and they've got another release, I think it's called the Harvest Moon, coming up that I'm really interested in. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you tried this brand before? What do you think of the looks? I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!